I love this part of the year where even though this year has been absolutely just horrible really, there's still been great games, and I love the bit at the end of the year where, you know, I get to sort of get on videos like this and go, look at all the stuff that I've played, look at all these things that I need to tell you about. So there's two specific games, two games that I need to talk about. One is Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, the sequel to Rebel Galaxy. I know it came out on Steam or whatever, like last year or something, but if we're talking about console games, you know, wider audiences and bigger audiences and things that most people didn't play, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is one of them, which is a game just about being a sort of Han Solo / Mal from Firefly type dude, or girl rather, she's called Juno, and then you just get to go between, you know, different mining colonies, upgrading your ship, getting different weapons, getting different defense components, going to the bar, getting a drink, getting a tip from the barman on some sort of bounty that needs taking out, and just making your life as this, you know, cool sort of rogue who plays pool with aliens, you know, spends their money on the slot machines, and then in between that goes and has a dogfight to get some bounties, mine some asteroids, and listen to one of the coolest sort of southern fried rock soundtracks that there's been in quite some time. The original Rebel Galaxy had that too. That original soundtrack was done by Blue Saraceno, or at least it was a bunch of songs by Blue Saraceno put on the soundtrack. But it's just, the Rebel Galaxy games have this really cool, laid back kind of, you know, southern trucker vibe, kind of like SnowRunner or MudRunner, but in space. And you're always upgrading, you're always getting better at the combat itself, and the game itself looks absolutely gorgeous. So Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is very much the original Rebel Galaxy's ship combat feel, although they, you know, gave you more options in dogfights and stuff like that, but with this really cool aesthetic, soundtrack, and motivation to see you through. There is way more of a story this time around than there was before. The other game that I need to talk about, and this, my entry is quite long, but I don't care, is Inertial Drift, which is a really cool twin-stick driving game, which no one else has done. It gave me super hot vibes of like, oh, they're rethinking the way a genre should work. In Inertial Drift, you steer a little bit with the left stick, but you do way more finesse with the right stick, and that changes per car. So when you throw yourself into a drift, you know, you'll obviously you'll turn with the left stick, and then maybe go full on with the right as well. But as you're banking through that turn, you're finessing with the right stick, whilst also feathering the brake and the throttle. Each different car handles completely differently, where some of them you'll need to pre-steer and then slam the accelerator back on to swing the back end out, so you go all the way around the corner. But other cars, the easier ones in like Class C or Class B or whatever, rely way more on just the sticks. You don't have to worry about brakes and throttle as well. Once you have all four components down though, like brake, throttle, both sticks, that feeling of mastering a track and nailing a time trial, while sort of perfecting that control scheme that initially feels so alien, just feels brilliant by the end. And also the game itself just looks so sleek. It's like this synthwave style, you know, purple hues, greens, and sort of neon colors, with this almost Auto Modelista looking cel-shaded vibe from like the PS2 era. It's just a really, really cool game, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it. I just saw a screenshot and was like, that seems cool, I'll check that out. And yeah, it's easily one of the slickest, coolest racers, arcade racers, that I've ever played, and especially in 2020. So yeah, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw and Inertial Drift. Check either of those out, and I'll be a very happy boy.
Okay, because this year has been how it is, I've played more games than ever before, so I actually have a few things I want to shout out before I get to my main event, as it were. First, Kentucky Route Zero. Like, this game is awesome, and I don't want to make it the focus because it is critically acclaimed, you know, got really good reviews, but nobody seems to be talking about it or playing it, and maybe that's because it released over the course of 7 years in different episodes. I don't know, but check that out and play it. But the game I want to talk about properly is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which is a VR game that came out at the start of the year and totally took me by surprise, not least because for the most part, unless they're made by Telltale, the Walking Dead games kind of suck. They're kind of really bad, they're kind of really phoned in, and because of that, this just wasn't on my radar at launch. I like to try and keep up with, you know, PlayStation VR games when a good one comes out, but I just instantly wrote this game off until people started talking about it months later, and I eventually checked it out. And this thing is, honestly, at a time, it was a candidate for Game of the Year. I love every single part of this game. Essentially, it's just this survival game where every single day you have a certain amount of time where you can go out and scavenge, and you can do missions, and you can hunt down survivors and stuff like that. And every single day, the resources dwindle and there's more and more zombies. And when it gets to nighttime, that's when the zombies get really powerful and you have to go back to base. It's kind of a little bit like Dying Light in that aspect, but way more focused on survival. And you're probably seeing all of the footage now that's been over this entry so far and thinking, this looks like your run-of-the-mill zombie game. I've done this in a bunch of zombie games before, and while that's true, there is just an added intensity to it when you're in there in VR. Like the simple fact that you have to hold a zombie's head with one hand, shank in a knife with the other, and then pry it out. Like those moments where you've got a zombie coming towards you, you've got a knife in the skull of one, and you're desperately trying to unhinge it from its goddamn skull and whack it in the face of the other zombie, is just so intense. I had some genuinely frightening, like amazing gaming moments during this title, whether I was fighting against zombies, whether I was scavenging, whether I was, against the clock, whether I came across a bunch of humans and I had to use the rickety old handgun in my holster with like 5 bullets to try and take them out, with laser precision. It doesn't necessarily do anything new, but the sheer fact that it's in VR makes it new, and it's one of the most robust VR experiences I've played, at least on the PlayStation VR. Like, it's a long game, it's a rewarding game, the upgrades are amazing that you can properly invest in, the different weapons you can get, the power you feel from surviving and scavenging and stuff. It like fulfilled my childhood dreams of wanting to be in a zombie apocalypse, obviously, virtually, because I would be one of the first to die. And like living day by day and having to build yourself up. Like, it's so immersive, it's so tactile, it's so visceral, it's so intense, and it does it all in this like comic book art style that might not seem initially like it would blend well with what I've just said, but it totally does, and it makes me excited for what this studio does next in the future of VR. Like a sequel to this game on PSVR 2, I would take it in a heartbeat. If you've got a headset, if you've got this system, give it a go. Like, if you like zombie killing, man, I want to play it right now.
Oh look, it's Osley Beatty here to talk about RuneScape yet again. No, I mean, I'm very excited for the Trailblazer League, but that's not really what we're talking about right now. We're talking about 2020 games that no one's been talking about at all. And my option for this one is Hard Space Shipbreaker. So basically, like, you're a guy in space and you're tasked with breaking up ships and salvaging materials, and you've got this little laser cutter and you've got a tether tool, and you just have a really nice time. And it's one of those nice little games that you can just like waste hours and hours into it, and it's just so good. Like, you can just listen to a podcast. The music itself actually is really great as well. Like, it's got this country like electronic sort of vibe, but it's just so chill and it's so nice. You do have like tasks that you've got to do, so you've got to like salvage reactors and materials and stuff, and you've also got to like maintain your oxygen levels. You've also got to watch out for any like explosives in there, and you've also got to like maintain pressurization in the ship. Like, you can't just go straight into the ship and start cutting stuff up. You've actually got to like take some care with it. But honestly, it is so chill and so nice, and honestly, no one's been talking about it at all, probably because it's on Steam in early access, and it's literally just come out like a bunch of months ago, but it is really good, and I'd highly recommend you check it out. It's just such a great game, really. Not much to really talk about it other than just go play it. Check it out, it's great, it's really, really good.
So an incredible game that I played in 2020 so far that I think just doesn't get talked about enough, doesn't get enough praise, is the Saints and Sinners Walking Dead game in VR. It is so bloody good. It's so realistic in a way that I guess any VR game about zombies can be, but it just absolutely blew my mind. I had never really played any proper VR game. I've kind of done the VR experiences and like the PlayStation VR rooms and all that sort of stuff, but to actually sit down and properly play a game that has a story and isn't just like an hour long or anything like that, actually have a game that you can progress with and survive in and interact with, I was so excited for. And it's about my favorite thing, which is zombies. It's a horror zombie game living in the Walking Dead universe. It's basically the zombie game that I've always wanted. It's being a survivor in a video game and just surviving, but not having to sort of go on different sort of too many side questions. The fact that you can just kind of take your time and do whatever you wanted within this game and sort of choose your own path. It's my dream come true, and I was so giddy and happy playing this game. It's ridiculous how happy I am being surrounded by zombies. Yes, it's terrifying. The first time that I killed a zombie in that game was probably the scariest moment in my life. It was way scarier than I thought it was going to be, but I have so much fun in this game. I played it for an hour and a half, and I got to 10 o'clock at night, and I was just like, I had to keep playing it. It's so immersive. The mechanics are brilliant. The fact that you can pick things up, different things, you can throw them, you can break them, you have different weapons, you can hold on to the zombies if you really want to, so that you can get a good grip on them and stab them in the face, and you have to stab them perfect. You know, you really have to strategize. It's just so perfect in my eyes. It is the perfect zombie VR experience, and if I didn't want to throw up after playing it for 2 or 3 hours, I would happily play it every day for the rest of my life. But you kind of need to take a break from VR every now and then. So yeah, my pick for an incredible, underrated game of 2020 is the Saints and Sinners Walking Dead VR game. It is incredible.